Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
Seems everywhere we look, there's more and more trackers available for people. I have one on this wrist, I have one on this wrist. Well, now they're becoming really common for dogs as well. And on today's episode of Canine Longevity, we're going to be doing a deep dive into trackers for our canines. Now, why is this important? Because motion is medicine. And joining us today from Satellite is David Teester, and he's going to be talking to us about all things tracker with Satellite. Welcome, David. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
One of the questions I have, and I know I've been asked by many because they're excited for me to be interviewing you, is technology. Like even last night I was doing a deep dive and we have those even the little Apple Finder trackers. You know, the technology is so different between what we may have with GPS versus Bluetooth versus SIM card versus, can you just help the audience understand, and me, because this is outside my wheelhouse, a little bit about GPS versus Bluetooth versus, versus what we see with the other types of trackers out there?
Sure. I'd love to break it down as best as I can. I will admit that there's limits to my own technical background, but I think I can give a pretty good overview. So, with Bluetooth, usually there's certain distance limitations. So when we're looking at AirTags, for example, Bluetooth range usually has about a maximum of about, I think, 30 feet or so, which can be limited depending on obstacles. But if there's another Bluetooth connected nearby, another Bluetooth capable device, then sometimes it can piggyback the signals back to yours, which will give you that expanded range when you're using something like Find My iPhone, for example. But, that's still a limitation that we might have with Bluetooth technology, is that it still needs some kind of contact point that's within that Bluetooth range. So there's a distance limitation there that you don't necessarily have with other tracking technologies. Cellular tracking technology tends to work off of LTE, and then it'll kind of pinpoint between different cellular towers, which is great if you have cellular towers nearby and you have good coverage. Like a lot of times you'll hear the word triangulation. And so from my understanding, it's basically what it's looking for is it's looking to have 3 points, and then it can figure out where you are in between those 3 points. Satellites give you a bit broader coverage because that's obviously covering the whole planet. And so when we're looking at GPS, for example, GPS is the North American satellite system that's managed by the government, the Global Positioning System. And so, but there's actually other countries also have them. So a lot of devices, we say GPS as positioning, but, it might also be working with other satellite constellations to give you more access points and things to be able to help you understand and give a better location and positioning functionality.
So overall then, GPS, if we're talking about for ourselves or even for our canine companions or athletes, GPS would be probably the best option on the market, simply because if you are going somewhere off grid, you're going hiking, you're going mountain biking with your dog, which I do, and you're somewhere where there's no signal, you still have coverage for yourself and for your dog.
Yeah, I would say so. GPS is going to give you the broadest possible coverage. And so regardless of where you get, GPS should be able to help you manage and give you good location and feedback. And ideally, you'll actually have hybrid systems that are working on multiple types of things so that then it can give you the best accuracy possible.
Okay, that makes most. So tell us a little bit about your system. So it is my understanding GPS, which sounds like it's the way we want to go so that we can go off grid, quote unquote. Tell us a little bit about what your system involves.
Yeah, I'd love to get into some details. We've actually got 2 products that we're working on. One is the Satellite Collar, which we're putting into the market April 10th. Okay. That's when it'll first be available, so very, very soon.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're very excited, and we're really hoping that we can help a lot of pets and pet families. Additionally, we also have the Satellite Tracker, which is the first direct satellite uplink tracker for dogs. Okay. And so that one's coming into market in June is what we've got slated for that. And kind of the difference between those two, So I'll start with what they have in common, which is like they're both working with 5 of the global navigation satellite systems, which includes the US GPS system, and then also like the Galileo constellation, the GLONASS constellation, Beidou, and QZSS constellation.
And if I understand correctly, that's so important because depending on where you are, one of them can locate you. So if you're down in a cavern, there's with triangulation, you're still going to have a signal.
Yeah, basically, like it would just connect to whatever constellation has the most satellites in that area to help give you the best, most precise positioning possible. And I think I looked at the numbers, like between the 5 different systems, it's like 130 different satellites that are potentially available for use. Like in total, you probably wouldn't be connecting all of them at the same time because they'll be in different positions over the planet.
So then this would be something international. So if you're going to go to Europe or the UK or South America or somewhere, Canada, to go out camping, hiking, mountain biking with your dog, this would work there as well.
Yes, right now we're set up. We can operate in 180 countries over 680 different networks.
Wow. Okay.
So pretty much global use and worldwide coverage that will be available in the U.S. market first.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
As dogs age, muscle loss can quietly steal mobility and quality of life. But what if science could help change that? Myos Muscle Formula with Fortitropin is an all-natural, science-backed ingredient shown to help build and maintain muscle while reducing muscle breakdown, with over a decade of research and real results. Because stronger muscles means more moments together. Myos, more time together.
Let's get back to the 2 devices. It sounds like there's similarities, but some differences. And I'm dying to find out why you chose one versus the other or both, and sort of the utility between the 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to do a breakdown there. So we could look at the collars coming out first. So maybe that's the one I can talk about in more detail. Sure. It actually provides a lot of virtual fencing options as well. So you could actually, like through your phone using Mapbox Maps to ensure precision of the mapping system, you would actually draw a fence on your phone. And then by training your dog to understand the feedback it's getting, then your dog would be able to identify the boundaries and know, like, when it's time to go home. If I hear this sound or if the collar starts vibrating, then your dog would rely on its training to know that it's getting to an unsafe boundary and return to a safe area.
So that's almost like an electric fence. So because they'll have the collar and they get the vibration or the audio input, but now you don't have to have your entire property outlined.
Yeah, you don't have to like bury any wires or anything. It's wire free, and it's based on satellite positioning technology. And another benefit of the collar is that we actually provide unlimited virtual fences. So you can set a virtual fence anywhere you want. So if I've got a fence, I might have one fence for my house, and then when I drive up to visit my parents on the weekends, I take my dog with me, I can set another fence around their area. And so, and even if I take my dog to an area they've never been and I set up a fence, then, you know, because it's relying on your dog's training, then they can identify very, very quickly, okay, I'm hearing this, I'm getting this response, then this is an unsafe area, I need to go back.
That's brilliant.
So it really relies most on the dog's training, and then since it's giving a consistent feedback, because it's adjustable as well, you can decide like how you want to set your feedback and how you want the feedback to escalate, whether that's with tones, whether that's with whistles, vibration, voice commands, things like that. So it would really rely on that.
Okay, so there's some degree of training with the
yes, we do have a training program built into the app, and then we're also adding additional training resources. And since you're looking at the company name as well, we've got Satellite. So the saddle part is for satellite, and then we've got the AI part because we're also integrating an LLM, a large language model, to provide a AI chat functionality. So you can actually ask it questions about your dog. So there's also health monitoring for both the tracker and the collar. There's also health monitoring features and activity monitoring.
Yeah.
Which is probably the part you guys are really interested in.
Well, I'm interested in all of it. So the health, so we'll just jump right to that because that was next on my list. So we talk about steps, we talk about activity, health monitoring, just the dog getting up and getting around as they age. You know, Canine Longevity is looking at dogs from the time they're 8 weeks of age, rather, up to 18 years or beyond. But what we know is they slow down as they age. We don't want them to slow down as they age because motion's medicine, as been mentioned. And so we are working, we're busy, we're not home all the time with our canine companion, and we're wondering, what are they doing? So it seems like with this, it will actually track their motion. So we know, whoa, we're having challenges during the day, or here's who we were in the house. I'm assuming maybe you can even track them through the house. And if all of a sudden they're having problems with stairs and you're finding they're just staying on the lower level during the day or not going to another area of the house, is that possible to track their motion inside the house?
I'd imagine so, but I'd have to double check with the product team to find out exactly how accurate that would be. Because houses are more complex environments than the positioning, because it's the signals are bouncing off the walls and everything. It can have a little bit of influence.
But just motion in general. Did we get up today? How many times did we get up
today? But
yeah,
it could give you motion in general. And then on top of that too, like right now we've already got ready and developed is to be able to separate between like at motion or at rest. Okay. And then in the future, maybe in the next 3 months, I believe, we've already got the team working on it to be able to actually categorize the types of motion. So how much your dog is walking versus how much your dog is running, how much your dog is jumping, versus when your dog is sitting, laying down, and when your dog's actually sleeping. So it should be able to identify that just based on the different pattern, based on the different feedback that the sensor is getting on your dog's activity. And then when we're looking at the AI, it also correlates to that because, it's basically, you can chat with it and you can ask it questions. It can reference the data it's got about your dog and give you summaries. So just like you've got the graphs and everything like you might with a Fitbit, and you can slide through it and be like, okay, so last week my dog was this active, this week my dog's active. But you can also just ask the chatbot, how's my dog doing? Right. And it'll be able to tell you and it'll give you a summary of like, okay, well, your dog's walking less this week than last week. You might want to encourage your dog to get more active.
Well, that's also important just as they age, of course, but even if they've had an injury and they're going through rehabilitation therapy and we're trying to see how comfortable are they, or they're on a certain medication or supplement, is it working? Are they now more active during the day? That in itself is huge data, huge data.
Yeah, and so obviously like as it collects more data, the more precise, the more tailored it can be for the individual dog. That's kind of what we're looking at as being one of the big benefits of the AI part, is it can really tailor the information and make things more specific. So in the beginning, when you first start using it, maybe most of the information it gives you will just be primarily based on breed characteristics or the information you've given based on like your dog's size, weight, and age, and well, gender as well. And so that'll be what it starts with. But as it collects more data and gets more reference points, then it'll be able to give detailed advice and guidance on your specific dog.
This segment of Canine Longevity is brought to you by Equiseer for Dogs, combining light therapy, infrared, and neurostimulation to help support canine comfort and movement.
So let's dig back into the devices, if you would. Talked a little bit about the collar and all the utility that we have there. Let's talk about the other device, and I'm really excited about that one because that, to me, looks like we're going off grid. It just screams, let's go off grid, let's go hiking, let's go mountain biking way up high. And the other thing I really like about it, and we'll get our little companion here out in a second. I love the harness itself. I'm a big snob when it comes to harnesses. I'm an orthopedic surgeon, sports med specialist, right? So I'm all about function, and a lot of the harnesses we see are what we call restrictive harnesses. So they cut in front of the dog's shoulder, well, it's not circular, it's the tendon. So imagine if every time you take a step, you have to take a band and you have to do this. After a while, your biceps are like, I'm done. Well, with a harness that's restrictive, they're walking across that and actually starts to act on their shoulder. Yours is perfect. It actually comes down and leaves space for the shoulders, which I don't know whoever helped you design it, as far as the ergonomics, did an incredible job, because that's very, very important. So let's dig in, if you would. We're going to bring, do we have a name for the dog?
I don't think we've settled on one, but how about Spot?
Spot, or CL for Canine Longevity. There we go. All right, so let's talk about, I'm just going to bring this up so we can, all right, so we'll talk about the collar first. Is it waterproof?
Yes, sir. It's IP68. So the IP stands for ingress protection, and then the 6 is for the dustproof rating, which that scale goes up to 6. So there's no 7 for that rating. So 6 is the max, so it's fully dust proof, so dust and dirt can't really get inside it at all. It's fully protected against that. And then for the waterproof, the 8 is for the waterproofing scale. And once you're at a 7, then the device can be immersed in water for a long period of time and still be able to function normally. When you get to an 8, then it can be immersed in deep water for a prolonged period of time and still be able to function normally. Okay. So we tried to make it like really robust and everything because, obviously for outdoor activities and things like dogs, even if they're not swimming per se, which dogs do like to swim.
They'll at least run in the water.
Yeah, they might run through water, or even just running through like grass in the morning and then there's dew. Right. That's something that, you want to be able to withstand. Right. And both the collar and the tracker, by the way, are IP68 waterproof and dustproof.
So why that's also important is a lot of the canine athletes that I work with are field trial dogs or hunting dogs, and they go out and they are in the water. They're in the marshes, and so it's important. So that's fantastic that it has that degree of ability. Battery life.
Both the products have a similar battery life, and we've got our testing shows 5 to 7 days, which would depend on your usage, but 7 days is pretty achievable, and it recharges in 2 hours. It uses magnetic attachment charging, so you just stick it on there and it'll start charging immediately. You don't even have to plug it in; it'll just adhere magnetically. So it's pretty easy to do, and in 2 hours, and then you're good to go again. You get a week of use off of a 2-hour charge.
Now, what I noticed though on the other device that I'm really excited about, it looks like there's a solar panel, literally solar cells on the back. I'm going to take CL for Canine Longevity and spin us around. So right here.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this actually is the track. This is just the harness. So the tracker is just this device here. So it's quite small, very lightweight. Right. But yes, it does have solar panels. And so that's something that we were looking at as well, because we imagine that like both products are good for outdoor usage, but we were really thinking of the collar as being primarily for at or around the home, and the tracker being for if you get somebody somewhere really out of the way. And so, the tracker can recharge using solar panels. It's got that 5 to 7 day battery life. And then, if you live in a really rural area where the cell phone coverage is spotty, it's got a Qualcomm chip, a 9205S modem. Okay. So it provides a satellite uplink constantly. It can always be transmitting its position. Perfect. So like my parents lived up in the mountains, and in that area I had cell phone coverage sometimes, or in certain parts of the house, or in certain areas, or if the cloud cover clears out just right, then I might be able to get a signal for a couple of seconds. And so, but that tracker would still be telling you exactly where it is at all times. So the second you get a signal, even if it's just for a second or two, you'll get an update on your dog's location because it never stopped transmitting, and you'll have very recent data on where your dog is. So for those really rural areas where like coverage is quite spotty, then like this is really ideal. And even if your dog got somewhere really away from the towers, so that you're looking out there but you can't get a signal on your phone at all, and your dog runs off and you can't find them for a week or two, then it's got the solar charger. It can still recharge, and you can still, as long as your dog's wearing it, then you'll still be able to find your dog.
And waterproof as well.
Yes, sir. Waterproof.
Okay, perfect.
It's also IP68 waterproof, same as the collar.
Fantastic. Now I'll show everyone what we're talking about here with the harness. So the thing I really like about the harness, and you guys did a beautiful job, is see how it comes down here and then goes through the center. A lot of harnesses actually will come across the front. You'll see these come across the front, and then they have a strap in the back. This would be what we call a non-restrictive harness. So the shoulder has free range of motion, which is really, really important. Because again, motion's medicine, but we're also trying to, minimize any type of repetitive activity issues or injuries. This does that for us. So I really, really like the harness. It looks like it's easy to adjust, very, very ergonomic. Different sizes. So this is obviously for a medium to large size dog. What if they're a smaller breed or a giant breed? Is it very adjustable for those, or are there different sizes?
I think it's quite adjustable. I'll have to check with the team because initially, because we're launching the collar first and it's a first generation and it's quite hefty, we've really kept it for like big dogs in mind, but we do plan to have future products that size down for smaller dogs as well. We're already working on a second generation collar that should be quite a bit smaller than that. So it should.
Because little dogs are just big dogs in a smaller package. So they want to go hiking too.
They really do.
See what else we have.
For the harness, I'd have to check with how adjustable it is, or if we've got plans for a smaller dog. I'd imagine we can make a smaller version of the harness pretty easily because the tracker itself is quite small and quite lightweight already.
No, it's really compact. No, this is perfect. Let's talk about, so you mentioned on your phone, being able to, is there an app? And also, is there a subscription or how? So for the audience watching right now, if they say, whoa, I'm into this whole concept of one or the other or both, what's the next steps? It sounds like it's launching soon. It's not out yet.
April 10th.
April 10th. And there will be and it is app-based, I'm assuming?
Yes, sir. There is an app. We've got a dedicated app. A lot of the AI insights and health and activity tracking are through the app. I should mention these do also have Bluetooth capability and they have LTE. Okay. So, there are certain functions that are available even without the app if you don't want to pay for that subscription. For the fencing specifically, you could still use the fencing without the app, but you won't get the notifications and the live tracking. Okay. A lot of the health monitoring would still work as well. But you'd have to get in Bluetooth range so that the devices could sync up and the caller could transmit the caller or the tracker could transmit the health data back to the phone, which it would have a limited amount of space on the device itself. So you'd want to be syncing up pretty often. And if you forget, it might start deleting old data before it was able to sync up. So a subscription's still going to do you a lot better than not having the subscription. And the subscription, right now, we've got it priced at $9.99 a month. Wow. And then we're working on an annual package where we could bring down that monthly fee if you just buy 1 year at a time.
And that will include all the AI technology. So the mapping, how is my dog during, we're getting older, we have hip arthritis, we're now starting a new rehabilitation program or some new supplements, and we want to see, we're not home, but we want data. It's all data's king. So we want to know, are we actually getting up and getting around now because it's actually working? All of a sudden you can notice through the data capture that we are.
That's
so
right. Yeah,
okay.
The AI
it'll be part of it as well. Okay. So last question. Have you thought about releasing a set of these for the dog, but also for the owner? And the reason I asked, just this past week, I was in California hiking in the redwoods and my signal went away. And luckily on my tracker it's GPS and I just had to follow the map or I still wouldn't be here today. I was that lost. But this is fantastic. And it looks like, if I could put this on my camelback or my backpack, or have you guys thought about, because, motion's medicine for the dog, but it's also important for the people because what we're noticing, and it's ever been since COVID, these guys are getting everyone outside. They're going for hikes, they're going for walks, and it's important to count our steps and our data as well. So you don't have to answer that, but it's just something to think about is, this is a good color. I could wear this and put this on my backpack, but just something to think about. And that same app could track your dog and yourself.
Yeah, sure. I can definitely bring it up to the app team to see if we could make it kind of a joint venture. I should mention something about the satellite tracker because it's got that satellite modem. It has direct satellite uplink. You can connect to this via Bluetooth. So if you're with your dog out in the woods and you get into an emergency, you can actually use satellite SOS messaging via the tracker to tell where you are and that you need help. And it'll actually upload your coordinates with latitude and longitude and everything, and then say what your situation is. That's an option on the app as well. You can just tap the emergency SOS button and it will just give you two taps, what's your style, who do you want me to contact, and it'll just give, I'm in emergency, send this to this location.
So David, thank you so much for joining us. For those in the audience that are interested in getting a tracker, which I know there's going to be many, how do they find you?
Yeah, so the best place to look would be our website, satellai.com, SATELLAI. You could also find us on social media, our Facebook, just search for Satellai, our LinkedIn, also Satellai, SATELLAI. And then our Instagram is Satellai Official. That would be Satellai_official. And that's where our Instagram would be. And these would be the best ways to find us, I think.
Perfect, thank you. Well, everyone, this is Dr. Sherman Canapp with Canine Longevity. And remember, motion is medicine. So let's get out there and move. And stay tuned, because coming up next is more on canine trackers.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
Welcome back. We're going to be talking about canine trackers, and with us today is George Andres with PetLink. George, welcome to Canine Longevity. Thank you for taking time. No, very, very excited to have you. Trackers, I'm a big fan. I wear so many different ones. Huge in the human side, now really starting to take off in the veterinary space. And it seems like there's so many technologies, many of which are for dogs. It seems like you guys are busting into the feline world as well. We'll talk about that. But help the audience understand, if you would a little bit, the different types of technologies. I know we have GPS and cellular and all these different types. What do you guys use within your device?
But essentially what we try to really bring is a true GPS system, very lightweight, and it controls the connections through cellular networks. So this is how you connect to that. You have an application on your phone, and it actually tells you real time where your dog and cat are precisely. Not only is it a true GPS, but we also have an activity monitor within the trackers. And they use the gyroscope and an accelerometer to capture all those movements. Then we use an algorithm within our application that then displays this data to the user, very user-friendly manner. And for us, that's one of the key things that we have, not just to have a really good light tracker, but also a good application and the experience in that interface.
So if we're talking GPS, we'll go back to that first. You and I are out for a hike up into the mountains. We lose our cell signal, but the GPS for the tracker will continue to...
Within 10 minutes, but think of it like a phone. If you lose connection from your phone, your phone doesn't really work. The good thing with this is because we keep 10 minutes of information.
Okay.
If and when you find the connection again, it will then automatically then pin the next location what you have as well.
Got it. Perfect. Perfect. And so you were mentioning accelerometer and also... Yeah. So why? Why did you guys include that?
We wanted to make sure that we really offer that true activity. And those are the technologies those are the sensors that we use on the trackers. Then the algorithm in the application or in the back end is what then translates those movements that are how many steps they're taking, how many jumps they're doing, how long that they're sleeping for as well. And then based on those parameters, then we are able to then say what the calories that these animals are expending.
So we can extrapolate from the motion to calories. I assume you're going to put into an algorithm the age, the breed, the size, the weight, all those things, and then it will actually calculate that for us.
And then you create your pet profile from there. And then you have 2 months worth of data that you can then look back in history of where they were, depending on how you have set the parameters and also the health aspect of things. And that is important because the moment you see something changing within that activity monitor, you have a notification saying there's something's not right here. Because normally you are active and doing this on a daily basis. Or it will send you a notification and say, hey, you haven't moved as much.
So you'll receive a notice.
Notifications on the app, that's it.
Okay.
And this is useful to take to the vets as well, because then they have something visual to go by, to tell them there's something right and it's not, I feel it's not normal in my pet, and I have this tracker on them which tells me this is the lifestyle.
So also if your pets say, for Canine Longevity, for our team, we're looking at tracking the dogs over the course of their life. And what they're going to do when they're 8 weeks old versus 8 years old versus 18 is going to change. So you're actually going to see that decline potentially in motion. So now we're going to make an adjustment, maybe a supplement, maybe some rehabilitation therapy, some exercise changes. And while you're home or not home, you're working, you should be able to see, oh, look, this is paying off. This is working because now we're actually back to activity during the day. Can you detect if they're going up and down stairs? Because that is a challenge. As dogs get older, they get arthritis. One of the things I hear so commonly is that, have challenges with stairs. Do you think you'll be able to, with this device, track then that type of motion?
I think it's something that we could potentially look. And, technology is continuously evolving. What right now it captures is the number of steps. It doesn't calculate altitude.
Got it.
But, it's something that we know. It's the technology is out there, is how we are going to then incorporate that into that. But now as we're breaking into this, we are beginning to understand how hungry we are for that data as pet parents. And that's the thing that for us is hugely important is we have this now. How can we make it better for you and that experience? What is it that you really need? And this data in front of you, what does it represent for you? And how can we make that an evolution on the device, but also on the software?
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
As dogs age, muscle loss can quietly steal mobility and quality of life. But what if science could help change that? Myos Muscle Formula with Fortitropin is an all-natural science-backed ingredient shown to help build and maintain muscle while reducing muscle breakdown with over a decade of research and real results. Because stronger muscles means more moments together. Myos, more time together.
So let's go back to the accelerometer, because you and I are both Formula One fans. So speed is important. Why would we want to see the use of an accelerometer within the device? What are your thoughts?
That's a very technical question. And for us, I think it's important that we're able to really capture those movements.
Yeah.
Okay. On cats, for example, to be able to then calculate how many jumps they have done.
Yeah.
That is great information, because we know step count has been around for a long time. But now we have this feature that says, he took 10 jumps today, or he jumped 15 times today. We talked about altitude 2 seconds ago. If we're able to then say he jumped so many meters today, that is important. But those are the two key sensors that we use to capture all that information.
And the reason why that is brilliant, so congratulations to your engineers, because when it comes to cats and orthopedics, they don't talk to you. They sit in a corner, and you don't even notice when they go from here to there. But the number one finding that we have as an orthopedic surgeon in cats is the jump height. So owners will come to us and they'll say, my cat's not jumping anymore. And so that's the number one indication that there's arthritis or a problem with your cat, is its inability to jump. Or the jump height, it used to go up into the cat tree, now it can only jump to here. Yeah. So the fact that you can track that is massive, because that is one of the most objective indicators that a cat has an issue. So that is brilliant.
Of course, it's really exciting to be able to bring this device. And obviously, we look at this now, most of the devices are attachments to an existing collar. Okay. Our device is a fully integrated collar.
Yeah.
Easy for them, so they don't feel it. So we know that the cat is not going to have a constraint.
Right.
Because we know how fussy they can be. Yeah. Right? The moment you put something on them, they don't like it. They're trying to get off from that. This is so seamless because it's so lightweight. The moment you put it on, and they just continue their life.
Okay. Battery life.
Depending on the usage. When you have a new toy, you play with it, the battery diminishes very quickly. But in that playing with the devices at the beginning, you learn what your parameters need to be.
Okay.
And once you set those parameters right, we're talking 1 to 2 weeks.
Oh, 1 to 2 weeks. Wow. And they wear it 24/7. Obviously, you're not going to put it on and take it off. And so for a cat, if they're not used to wearing a collar, just a break-in period, put it on for a short period of time, let them get used to it, take it off. Is that how you recommend introducing them?
But we have found that the moment that we put it on the studies we've done, they accommodate very quickly to the device.
Very nice. How about the dog collar? So battery as well. Mm-hmm. The battery life is the same.
Yes.
Okay. And so if you can show us the canine version, different sizes for the various dogs, because we have Yorkies all the way up to a Great Dane, same size?
Same size, okay. And it's very light. Again, we don't want to create a barrier for them to continue their active lifestyle.
Right.
So something that is on the collar, that they don't feel it, they just carry on as normal. So,
it's really light.
It is super light.
You don't even...
No, exactly. No. Absolutely.
And so the same thing, this will just slide through their current collar, or does this go around?
Around the collar, and then once it's secure.
So they have a collar on, Velcro around the collar. That's brilliant. Because otherwise, some collars are thick and round and just different.
No, for sure. And we have different size straps depending on the size. For the bigger dogs, obviously they will have a thicker collar.
Right.
There's a larger strap for it.
Perfect. Waterproof.
Totally.
Waterproof. Okay. Absolutely. All right. Because a lot of these dogs, they may jump in the pool.
Yeah.
If it's a dog doing sports, a field trial, out hunting, it's going to go in the water as well. So that is brilliant. And it's on the market right now?
It's on the market. Right, we launched the Canine device in December here in the US, and we'll be launching the feline one in July.
Oh, Fantastic.
Yeah, so we're
And that's
very
good.
excited.
And the feline one is in the US as well.
In the US as well, yeah. So these devices work across Canada, the US, and also into Mexico.
This segment of Canine Longevity is brought to you by Equiseer for dogs, combining light therapy, infrared, and neurostimulation to help support canine comfort and movement.
So there's an app. There's an app. Is there a subscription then? Subscription based? So they download the app, they have the device, and then the subscription's annual subscription, or how's this?
We have 4 different levels. We have the monthly subscription. If you want to try for a minimum of 4 months, you pay obviously 3 months because the first month is free.
Okay.
We have found that the most popular one is the 1-year subscription.
Yeah, makes sense.
It makes
you want
sense.
the long-term data.
Totally.
Yeah.
And when you calculate on a monthly basis, you're halving the monthly cost as well. So that shows commitment. It gives you a good year to really get used to the device, but most importantly, to really understand the data that we present to you in the application.
But data is king. So once you place this on that 1-year-old dog, I want to know what my dog's doing when he's 5, because it's going to change, and it's going to change when he's 10. So the ability to track this over time is going to be really, really.
Right now, we have what we call LTV, lifetime value, of 4 years. That means that on average, 4 years, customers are staying with the product, with the subscription, with the application.
Yeah.
So we are collecting all this information, and that shows us that they are really engaging with the device and everything that we're presenting to them.
That's fantastic. Some of the devices out there, there's health devices as well, where they're looking at heart rate and respiratory rate. I found those can be challenging just because you have fur and it's challenging. So the fact that your metrics can go and look at steps, accelerometer, vertical, jumping, I think that ability, that's very objective. So for me as a veterinarian or as a orthopedic surgeon, that is very objective data, as far as the motion is concerned. So a lot of owners are out hiking with their dogs, mountain biking with their dogs. Is there any thought on one of these for humans as well? So you're sitting there running with your dog, and your dog has one, or what about,
Believe it or not, the concept started as a human device.
Did it?
Yes. So the founders, 10 years ago, they decided they were on the beach, and one of them, he started looking onto the beach thinking, there's kids running around in a crowded beach, and you might lose them. So what do you do? So the first idea was, how do you put a tracker on your kids so you don't lose them? And it quickly then developed onto a pet, onto pet devices. At one point, they were running simultaneously, so one for humans and one for pets. But the pets, obviously, the opportunity, very niche still. I think we're very in infant stage right now.
Yeah.
But in the future, look, there are GPS devices now. Exactly.
People like you and I, we're out running with our dog, hiking with our dog, mountain biking with our dog, and we can compare our data.
Exactly.
The dog's always going to be faster, according to your accelerometer.
Exactly. But no, it's like I said at the beginning, technology is continually evolving, and for us, it's trying to get ahead as much as possible.
That's fantastic. So if people are interested in purchasing, subscribing, can you lead us with your website, social media? How do we find
Absolutely, yes. You find us. We are on petlink.net. You can buy the product directly from there. We are also on Instagram, so for Petlink GPS, that's our official tag. And then on Amazon in the next few weeks or so.
Oh.
We will be launching there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes.
That's perfect. So everyone, this is Dr. Sherman Canapp with Canine Longevity. As we mentioned, motion is medicine. Can't thank you enough for joining us today. I'm really excited about your device, and don't tell anyone, I'm going to try one myself. And,
Let me know what
I will let you know what the data looks like.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much. Stay tuned. We're going to have more on canine trackers.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
Welcome back. We're continuing our episode on canine trackers, and with us today is going to be Dr. Rahani from Lootpaw. And I have to ask you first off, Lootpaw, where did that name come from?
Thank you for having me on the show today, Doc. Loot Paw, the name really came for a treasure for your pets. So the idea of loot, a treasure where you can provide these products for your pet, who are your treasures as well, and really consider this a golden opportunity for the community, for the canines that are living with us day to day.
That's brilliant.
Oh, we appreciate it.
It's brilliant, and the engineering behind this is brilliant as well. I had a chance to do a deep dive into it, and great technology. And for our audience, sometimes they get a little bit confused, like I do, on GPS versus cellular versus Bluetooth and all those types of things. Can you explain a little bit about the technology that's incorporated into the Loot Pod?
Sure. So our tracker here at the end of the day really has, like you mentioned, all these different types of technologies, cellular, GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and the difference is with the range and accuracy of these types of tech in this type of tracker. And it really involves how in-depth do you want to get the precision on this. So GPS is going to be first and foremost in combination with cellular, how you get the most precise location on these trackers.
So this one has both?
It has both of them.
So as far as the market, that seems to be something unique. It seems to me from my research is you have one or the other, or so this is fairly unique in the space.
Yes, you are correct. A lot of these are very similar products will have just Bluetooth or GPS-based technologies. Bluetooth is great for short range within about, let's say, 40 to 50 meters, and that's really pushing it. This is good up to an extended unlimited range as long as this has contact with the sky or visible through sky. Pretty much can find this anywhere.
Okay. Now, anywhere meaning that if we're in the United States, Canada, Europe, how are it? Because obviously satellites change and coverage changes. So this can go through other.
So this can go through other countries. Now, right now, we're limiting domestically. We're based out of the US just to really get a great capture on this market share here.
Sure.
But that being said, more than happy once this gets certified in other countries, then you can take it anywhere globally.
Okay. Understand GPS now, the Bluetooth component of it, adding in the Bluetooth and adding in the cellular, what is that going to do for us?
Sure.
To separate us now from just, because it sounds like if I'm going to go hiking with my dog, not biking with my dog, I'm off grid, I still have coverage. Why do I also need the cellular and Bluetooth?
Great question. So cellular really helps give you position when GPS coverage is poor. GPS is really great in open sky conditions, that's what they call it, where there is not a lot of obstruction to the view. Cellular assists with that process because cellular is not necessarily as dependent on those particular view limitations from the sky. So it uses these towers in the actual ground to help pinpoint in conjunction with GPS to get you a fine-tuned accuracy without worry of, okay, are there obstructions? The Bluetooth is a quick, fine piece of equipment where if you're nearby with your phone, you can quickly identify where they are and get closer to your tracker in a very quick period of time. Again, used in very tight scenarios. Let's say you're in a wooded forest or in a house with a large complex. You can find these devices with a lot of ease at the end of the day.
Because it's adding all the other components like Bluetooth and cellular. Cellular, we'll talk about that for a second. My experience with my various cell phones and different coverages is that some are really good in locations and some are poor. How do you handle that with the Loop?
Yes, and so like your phone that you had mentioned, the coverage there is typically determined by the SIM carrier or provider. So there are multiple carriers out there that provide cellular coverage. Our device acknowledges that one solution may not be best for all pet owners out there. And so our device intelligently selects the best solution for cellular services using multiple partners, not just in the United States, but across the entire globe. Over 190 carriers are supported on this single device where it will automatically switch to provide you the best coverage possible.
Oh, that's fantastic. Now, battery.
Yes.
So charge time, how long is the battery?
Last typically. So these will last enough for about the day to charge every single night, similar to a smart watch or smartphone. It really allows for the device to get a chance to really fill back up. And for the users themselves, for the pets, sometimes they want to give them a break for a few hours and charges within about 2 to 3. So it's a really quick pop on.
Take off at night, plug it in, put it on in the morning.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Is it waterproof?
Yes, yes, it is. We say don't scuba dive with it, but outside that, yes, it definitely can withstand a lot of harsh conditions. We understand dogs like to run around and play, roll in the mud. We want to make sure that it can survive that wear and tear.
Jump in the pool.
Or jump in the pool.
And even for our sporting dogs, which I have the privilege of seeing a lot of, field trial. They're out there in the water, they're in the marsh, so want to make sure that they can do that as well. This is a question that I have to. It's embarrassing to ask, but my dog tends to want to eat everything. Okay, so bomb proof. I'm sure there hasn't been a taste test on these. Anything plastic, my dog likes to get a hold of. But this is attached to the collar, so really not going to have an opportunity to chew on it, read it. Thank goodness. How does it attach to a collar?
Yes. So as far as attachment is concerned, it uses this universal attachment piece here. So essentially, we allow you to customize whatever collar you want to place this on the end of the day. This is just a demo collar for our purposes. As long as it can fit into this space, and we have other extensions for larger collars coming down the line, you can snap or take these plastic pieces of silicone on. Also allows for a nice backing such that it doesn't irritate the skin of the animal. And then once this is attached, you don't have to mess with this any longer. Everything from there is just about convenience, where you can take the tracker, simply orient the backside into the orifice, connect, and twist through, and you're done.
Okay.
And when you want to charge it, such that that way you don't have to mess again with the attachment, you can depress the button on the side, twist it, pops right off.
Perfect. So this just attaches to their primary collar. Now you were saying a lot of the patients I see, they have these big leather or thick collars. There's all these custom collars now. Will this? You said there'll be multiple sizes of the device attachment.
Yes. Right now to market, this is the one that is supplied with, and it supplies for a wide range of collars. But like you had mentioned, there are a degree or number of collars that need to be accounted for that are thicker. And so really for us, it's just a change of a bit of the mechanical design such that the strain and forces can keep the collar attached to the tracker at the end.
So you have it at the end of the day, because I know this is about to. This hasn't launched yet. It's going to be launching. Where is it launched?
It's launched. It's launched currently. Actually, about a few weeks ago, we officially launched this throughout multiple e-commerce sites. So it's available now for purchase if you'd like.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.
As dogs age, muscle loss can quietly steal mobility and quality of life. But what if science could help change that? Myos Muscle Formula with Fortitropin is an all-natural, science-backed ingredient shown to help build and maintain muscle while reducing muscle breakdown, with over a decade of research and real results. Because stronger muscles means more moments together. Myos, more time together.
So is the idea then, what will come in the box will be the attachment, the tracker, collar. Will there be multiple size attachment devices then, or do they go online and they'll order ones per the size of the dog? Because what a cat's going to wear compared to a Great Dane collar is going to be vastly different. So,
Yes.
so they'll go on your website and they'll find appropriate size clips.
You got it. And for right now, those clips, while they aren't immediately available, they will be available in the very near future. And it's a convenience to the consumer because we understand there's a lot of different pet sizes out there, a lot of different ranges within the dog community. We will ship multiple of these within the packaging.
Okay.
But for now, in the immediate future, within the next few months, yes, they'll go on our site and purchase this at a very low nominal cost.
Perfect. So once you have the product, I'm assuming, maybe I'm wrong, but there's an app associated with it, and then subscription model. Is that how it works, or can you walk us through that?
Sure, no problem. So there is a smart app that tracks all the tracking for activity, location, history. Pretty much we're keeping a notebook on your pet for the day to day. There is a subscription, like you mentioned. Think of a cellular service similar to your smartphone, smartwatch, etc. The first 30 days are completely free, though. We understand that this is a new technology. and everyone wants a chance to play with it before they want to commit. So we offer that for our users so they can contact our customer support available 24/7 to walk them through all their daily needs with their tracker.
Perfect. So you mentioned we know HGPS, we talked about the tracking, Bluetooth, cellular. Besides being able to track my dog if it runs off into the wild and chases a little critter, what else do we have? Do we have motion during the day? Do we have steps, or do we have acceleration? Or like, walk me through some of the other metrics we would look at, or data that may be related to our canine companion's health.
Sure. So as far as these trackers are concerned, like you had mentioned, location is important, but we're living in a world where increasingly it's more important to stay connected to increase longevity of our canines. So the way to do that with this type of tracker technology, we use sensors within the tracker to really detect what does their day-to-day activity look like? What is their caloric burn? What is their resting and sleep patterns? And this is just the beginning. We're trying to develop more and more technology to allow the user to have more insights for what is happening to their dog's day-to-day life.
So then they can just log into their app and actually see, has my dog gotten up today? How far is my steps or things like that? Or is it primarily motion, or how is it going to give us an objective measure?
So for an objective measure there, we use basically a time-based approach. We used to do individual steps. We found that the sensors in here will miss other parts of activity though. A jump is much different from a jog or a run, and so the caloric burn will vary greatly. And so we've distributed or stratified it based off types of activity, being low, moderate, high, and then stratifying the amount of caloric burn based off that. And then from there, we're giving you greater insight of what is the general activity pattern of your pet.
So you'd be able to tell, for instance, if so I assume you get the app, you enter, I have a beagle that's this age, this and so forth. So that's going to calculate differently than it would be for your golden retriever. And is there any kind of alert or anything where if your dog is not, if it's changing, where it's having trends that it's not moving, he or she is not moving as much during the day, or all of a sudden during the day there's no motion, would you receive any kind of signal or?
Yes. So for these trackers here, we have two ways of displaying the data. We have the day-to-day, like you mentioned, and within the app, we will alert you that, hey, activity is down or sleep is up. There could be a pattern here for where your dog may not really be acting the way we would expect them to. But we also know that day-to-day might not always be the most accurate. So to help stratify or average that data, we also do week-to-week breakdowns. So that way, if there's a pattern that's persisting beyond just a single day, we can capture that data and compare it week to week and give you those predictive health insights as your pet uses our tracker more.
And then even annually, because again, if you, in the ideal world, I would say, okay, we have a young dog, 6 months old, sure, and we're going to start collecting data, because the data at 6 months of age versus 6 years of age versus 16 years of age, it's going to be vastly different. And when all of a sudden that motion hits that plateau or starts to drop, for some dogs that may be at 9, for some that could be 12, but that allows you to have intervention or to say, hey, what's up? And work with your veterinarian or veterinary team to say, we're noticing less motion. And then they can do a deep dive, and catch things. So for me, it's all about, we call it medicine 3.0 versus 2.0, proactive versus reactive. Well, this allows us to be more proactive because we can look not necessarily into the future, but detect those subtle changes early on. So that's a great concept. And I think, now, is any of that AI driven, or how's that work as far as, because it seems pretty technical that it can take motion data and then start to do a comparison and learn over time from that dog's patterns. How's that work?
You got it. You got to completely hit the nail on the head. These trackers have what we call edge processing on them. So it has AI built into it in such a way that it can detect different activity patterns. And this sends this to our cloud, where then we distribute that information to you, the end user, and our app. And it's only the beginning. As we take more of this data and train our models to be even smarter, we will be able to provide greater health predictive insights. And of course, passing it on to our colleagues in the veterinary space, we hope we can kind of partner together in such a way that this data makes sense not only for the pet owner, but for the vet community.
Yeah, because that's fantastic. That brings up another point then. Such amazing data. They'll have just entire segments of the dog's life. how do they share that with their veterinarian or their rehabilitation therapist they're working with? Say if their dog has arthritis, is there a way to download, or how would they share that data with their, their providers?
Of course. So right now, for the week to week, what we do is have it all displayed into a single nice layout. But in the future, what we hope to do is just download a simple Excel file or similar file where you can distribute these data into rows and columns and provide it in a nice, pleasant manner for the veterinary provider.
It's like a patient portal
That's
sort of thing where they'd log in and you can give access to your rehabilitation therapist or your veterinarian, and they can track and say, oh, this supplement is working really well. Look at that. Because again, when it comes to medications and supplements, we want them to work, but we don't know that. We think it's why we call it practicing medicine. Like you and I, we some things are going to work great for patients and some work as well. So this will allow that bird's eye view of the veterinarian to see, oh, we did place them on this supplement. We're starting to see motion. So that's a great way to help the provider.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is fantastic. So for owners that are now on the market, congratulations. For owners that are interested, and it's for cats as well.
Yes,
It's not just dogs, it's for cats as well.
Got it.
So for our canine owners or our feline owners that are interested, what's the next steps? They go to your website, they can find you on social media. Can you share some of that information?
Of course. So for our website, it is loot, Loot, pawpets.com, or for our socials, you can find us at Loot Paw Official. You can communicate with myself, any of our staff, very friendly. We're on all the time. We're more than welcome to field any questions. We understand that this type of technology is a little bit newer, maybe not as familiar, but we make the promise and guarantee that we are here to back our product, not only for the owner, but most importantly for the pet's sake. We really want to we really want to innovate in such a way where we are providing value constantly for our community.
This segment of Canine Longevity is brought to you by Equiseer for Dogs, combining light therapy, infrared, and neurostimulation to help support canine comfort and movement.
It's constantly, and it's throughout we say canine longevity. The whole idea is being able to collect data and know when we're starting to see changes over time. There will be changes over time. The idea is, okay, now we have a way proactively to step in. This is fantastic. Well, so Dr. Rohani, you're a doctor, but a human doctor. So I'm dying to find out, how did you get involved in a product that's in the canine companion, feline companion, or veterinary space?
Of course. Well, like you identified, yes, I am a human doctor, but what we found in the veterinary community when my partners had approached me due to my medical background was there is a lot of advancements in human medicine day to day. But myself and my partners have all noticed that the advancements are quite lacking, particularly proactively in the pet space, particularly canines, felines, our loved ones, our family members at the end of the day with everything we're seeing. So I wanted to lend my expertise into this space, both having a technical background as well as a medical background, to advance this field and really provide these data insights. As you mentioned, data is king, and we really want to make sure that we progress the future for our pets such that we don't let things go without an appropriate diagnosis and appropriate tracking.
It's fantastic. And as a person that's completely into data, I'm wearing two devices right here. I'm a data geek. This is another question then. So, especially with you being on the human side, has there been any thought of having you're out for a run with your dog wearing the Loot and having something that's actually connected and you can actually track yours as well? Have you guys actually thought about bringing it back into the human space or bringing it into the human space? Because it makes sense to me that we can have the same app. We can track our data for our canine companion, family member, but for ourselves. Is that something that's in the pipeline?
100% as far as what we've considered, because like you mentioned, when we are more active with our animals, we tend to obviously be more active ourselves. We're taking our pets for walks, they're going to the park, we're doing more training with them. We undervalue sometimes as humans our own health, for better or for worse, and that proactiveness greatly applies also to the human space. The healthier the human, the healthier they can also be for their pets and their loved ones. So yes, 100%, we're thinking about really collaborating tightly with the human-based aspect of medicine along with the pet-based aspect, because the technology is very similar at the end of the day. It's really about making meaningful progress towards that end goal.
What's fascinating, and you nailed it on the head, is that's actually one of our missions. So, our mission at Canine Longevity, of course, is taking that companion through the whole stage of their lives, holding their hand because they have a different instruction manual through that entire path is going to change. But what we're finding as well is that many of these owners will do in the veterinary space, they'll do everything for their dog. They'll actually take better care of their loved one being four-legged than sometimes themselves. So our mission, of course, is to help our canine feline companions here. But in return, it's going to have that trickle-down effect then to the owner. Exactly what you're saying. They're tracking their dog's data. Now they're going to say, I'm going out for a walk. I'm going to start tracking my data. What we're finding fascinating as well is many of us in veterinary schools, as we're being trained, aren't trained in these things. This is all proactive, preventative medicine. We, unfortunately, in the vet space, many times are still stuck in that 2.0 versus 3.0. So mission, kind of 2.0 or 3.0 then to the veterinary space is all of a sudden they're veterinarians when they go in for their general wellness evaluations and they're wearing one of these, the general veterinarians will be like, what's that? And now the owner can educate the veterinarian on proactive medicine. So it's that huge, it's full circle, and you guys are there. So congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Dr. Rohani, thank you so much for joining us. Incredible information, and congratulations on your launch.
Thank you so much.
For those out there, look into these canine trackers because remember, motion is medicine. Thank you for tuning in. And for more information on canine longevity, go to caninelongevity.com. See you next time.
Good girl, Fachi.
Canine Longevity is presented by Myos Pet, the leaders in pet muscle health.